This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
If you're an entrepreneur, can you run the most important parts of your business using Chat GPT? That's one of the things that we're going to be talking about today on Everyday AI. This is for you. This is your daily live stream podcast and newsletter where we break down everything that's happening in the world of AI, bring on experts to talk about it, and we leave you with takeaways that are going to help you grow your career and your company, hopefully. So we have an awesome guest, Dennis Berry, who's going to be talking about entrepreneurship and using AI. But before we do that, let's go over what's happening in the world of AI news. So as a reminder, if you are listening to this live, please drop a comment for myself or Dennis, and we'll get to it. But let's talk about what's going on in the AI news, because there's some big and exciting things. So first, there's a digital cloning platform. If you haven't heard of it, it's called Synthesia. Not the easiest name to say on video, but they just hit a $1 billion valuation. I think part of it is because NVIDIA is backing them and has been backing them. But this is a pretty intriguing software. And for them to hit the $1 billion valuation is pretty amazing. I've been following this company since they came out, and the technology has really improved. But essentially, you can create a clone of yourself on video to say anything you want. So obviously, there's a lot of ways that this could go wrong with misinformation, deepfakes, all that. But it is pretty secure. So more about that in the newsletter if you're interested. The next piece of news that I think is very timely and awesome. This is brand new. That you can't even. I found this on one website. So just came out a couple minutes ago. So AI is being used to create a new and apparently final Beatles song. That's right. There's going to be a new Beatles song. So Paul McCartney just said in an article that they use technology to kind of pull out John Lennon's voice from an old demo, and they're using AI to release a brand new song later this year. So whether you're a Beatles fan or just a music fan in general, I think this is probably one of the biggest pieces of the intersection of AI and music that we've seen so far. So very exciting. Last but not least, very timely as well. So today, the Senate is holding its first ever hearing on AI and how the government should regulate its use, or if the government should regulate its use here in the United States. So Majority Leader Chuck Schumer just announced this. So they are having this today. It's a members only meeting. So that's senators only. It's not open to the public, but I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of information. So my take is this. I don't think the U.S. is going to do too much in terms of regulation. European countries have regulated Chat GPT and other AI pretty heavily. I don't think we're going to see a lot in the U.S. just because, one, the government historically has not always been the smartest in terms of regulating new technology, internet technology. But number two, and we've talked about this on the show before, AI is really, and AI-related companies are really driving the stock market. So we're going to have more on those stories and a lot more in the newsletter. So please check out youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the newsletter so we can go more into the news. And with that, we're going to bring in our guest for today. So joining us now, we have Dennis Berry. He is a business and life coach for Heart of Wealth Mastermind Group. Berry, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, man. It's super excited to be here and talk about that. I love all that intro and everything you were just talking about. It's so exciting. I love the concept of the show, because one thing you said in the intro is like, we bring experts on. I am not an expert, but I'm a businessman. So I love the concept because there's so much AI information that some of it is overwhelming for a lot of people. So it's good to have not experts like myself share how I'm using it. So I love the concept. Awesome.
Yeah, well, I think you're definitely an expert, though, Dennis, in creating content for entrepreneurs, helping entrepreneurs. So maybe not an expert using, AI or ChatGPT, but I'd say none of us really are when it's this new, right? But as a reminder, if you are joining us live, leave a comment like Punit just did, saying thanks for this kind of conversation. So yeah, hopefully this is good. So Dennis, just quickly tell us about Heart of Wealth Mastermind Group. What is it that you do? Who do you work with?
So we work with entrepreneurs and leaders of all types, men and women. It's all inclusive. I think that our differences make us stronger and more beautiful. So I don't like to have just a men's group, just a women's group, stuff like that. So and we just use our expertise, our strengths and experiences to make each other stronger and our businesses grow. We focus a lot on emotional intelligence because my background is in life coaching, originally in addiction recovery, helping people with alcoholism and addiction. And so I learned a lot. My coach was a psychologist. I learned a lot about that type of coaching. And so we bring a lot of that into the work that we do in the Heart of Wealth Mastermind Group.
Awesome. So you're an entrepreneur yourself. You're working with other entrepreneurs. So how, maybe talk about one or two ways that you've already been using, AI or, a lot of times just Chat GPT. What are ways that you've been using it for Heart of Wealth Mastermind Group?
Well, the best way that there's a couple of ways that I use it very effectively. And one is I produce a lot of content for social media and our brains get dry sometimes. So for ideation, it's for typing in when I can come up with an idea or I have a good video to share or a meme or something, a point I want to get across, but I can't quite get the writing out. I use Chat GPT to help me form content, to build posts and come up with ideas. Now, I don't like a lot of people are just putting it into the Chat GPT, copying it and pasting it into their post. And one, it just doesn't even sound natural. I mean, it sounds more natural than it used to 5 years ago if you had a tool like this, but it's really not natural. And two, if you keep doing that, like the platforms are going to pick up on that soon and they're going to kind of boot it out or keep it from becoming as visible. So I recommend, like, the way I use it is just for ideas and then I make it my own. And so it's great for ideation and coming up with ideas.
Yeah, talk about that because as an entrepreneur myself, I run into that all the time, right? Like once you get the idea, I think it's easy, especially if you have, good background in the subject. I think it's easy once you can get to, 1. It's easy to go from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, but sometimes going from 0 to 1 is a hard process. So, what's maybe kind of your go-to way to use ChatGPT for ideation?
So everything you said is exactly true. We get blocked. And so those mental blockages, they keep it. And sometimes we just need to go for a walk and come back. We're like, oh, I have to get this post up right away. Well, it's not coming right away. So instead of racking your brain or putting out something that isn't so great, step away for a second. That 0 to 1 is the hardest. And then it's like, I always say, like, cracking that door open is the hardest. But once we crack it, it swings open on its own. So if we can just get it to crack, that's what ChatGPT. That's really like the great use of ChatGPT. It helps crack the door open, and then we just take it and then we make it our own from there, and it makes it so much easier. The other way, and we talked about it before, that I use ChatGPT is I created a book. There's a feature in ChatGPT for those who don't know called "Write a Whole Book with One Click." Now I'm revealing my secret book here.
That's what the show is. We all the secrets get spilled. So yeah, tell us about how you use that.
So on my website there, I run a mastermind group, as you know, the Heart of Wealth Mastermind Group. So one of the things, whatever your business is, you can sell a mastermind group or you're an electrician or whatever. You want to drive people to your website and through the funnel into your whatever your product or services. And we do that with lead magnets. So we lead people through the funnel to our final call to action. And the way that one of the ways I'm doing that here is with a book that I call Mastering Success, the Power of Mastermind Groups to Grow Your Business. And so I typed in the Chat GPT, the write a whole book with one click prompt. And I typed in write a book on how to use mastermind groups to grow your business. Oh, and there it is. And so I wrote that whole book in one day. And it's a 100-page book. And you could download it for free if you want. But again, let's go back to my previous point for 1 second. I didn't just copy it and paste it in here. I made it my own. So I came up with the ideas. I said, write me the exact prompts I think were write me. I think the average chapter in any non-fiction book, it was 2,500 words, which I think is a little too long for something like this. So I said, write me a book with 1,000-page chapters on the power of mastermind groups, 15 chapters, and it spit it out like that. And so I used it, I took it, and I made it my own.
That's amazing. So yeah, if you're listening to this later on the podcast, we have a picture of Dennis's book here on the screen as we're going live. Thank you for all the comments, PJ. Talking about Newton's law in motion. A lot of your connections here joining us, Dennis, which is great. So Delphine, thanks for the comment. Corolla, thanks for the comment. A lot of people here. So you brought up a great point, Dennis, because I think one mistake that people make when using ChatGPT is they don't go through those extra steps that you did. They'll just take something verbatim, or they don't give ChatGPT enough information on the front end, like you talked about, being specific. What are some lessons that maybe you've learned that you could kind of impart your experience so far onto other entrepreneurs on the way to get the most out of it, and to make sure it's of value to your audience. So what would be kind of your advice for that?
Well, the whole thing is like, if we own a business, it's usually because we have some sort of expertise in that field. I think there are some people that just start a business because they're opportunistic and there's a chance to make money. But I think 99% of us are an expert or whatever in our field. So the idea is, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think AI is ever going to replace humans, because humans need to run the AI on some level. I think it might minimize over time to where AI does really run a lot of the show. But I think that humans will always be necessary. So the idea really is to make it your own with your expertise. ChatGPT and whatever is coming soon here is really a guide. It's a guide. It's a way to crack the door open so it swings open the rest, right? It's when we get stuck. It's when we need a tool like a lead magnet or whatever other tools that we're using it for, and use that as the tool, make it your own, and then you can open up so many new doors with AI, at least. And again, I'm not an expert. I know there are so many more case uses that I am not even aware of. I'm 51 years old. Maybe I'm too old, but there's so many uses. The idea though is use it for ideas and then move from there, not just copy and paste, because people pick up on that. People say, oh, people are stupid. Not really. Our consumers, they can see through stuff like that. So I would say use it wisely and to your advantage.
Yeah. And I think, you've already mentioned this, but I think it's helping us as entrepreneurs take our thoughts and expand on them, and obviously checking on the back end. I think, what you're doing is a great use case. Corolla saying using ChatGPT daily. Maybrit with a comment, AI is amazing to edit the output yourself. Yes, like Dennett says, you have to edit it yourself. Tristan has a good point here. So Tristan says, I find the constant pressure to be continually making social media content. It becomes overwhelming and tends to take away from the actual tasks of business. So that's a great point. So Dennis, can you talk on that a little bit? Because I know you said, kind of before the show, it's also great for social media. So, talking about, kind of playing off of Tristan's point here, how has that helped, and how can entrepreneurs, even just for social media content, use ChatGPT?
Well, I'm on social media a lot, and there were times when I first started, I would spend 6 hours a day on LinkedIn
Wow.
getting the engagement going, getting everything going. And, to get a couple hundred, or I have posts with 10,000 plus or more reactions on there. That doesn't just happen. Like you have to nurture that type of activity, but that takes time. And the idea when you have a business, social media is supposed to support your business. It's not supposed to be the business. So, as an entrepreneur, we have to do everything. As a solopreneur, there's a lot of work to do. So we're web developers, business people, salespeople, accountants. We have all that work to do. So we don't have time to also spend 4 or 6 hours a day creating content and being on social media. So there's one, we can outsource. So we can have, I also have people, I outsource a lot, and I have people that help with some of my social media things, but also we can take shortcuts like using Chat GPT to help cut our time dramatically, well below half, so we have more time to take care of actual business and clients. I mean, I have a lot of clients too. So
Yeah.
Chat GPT it's a great teammate to have, but it doesn't. It's a great supplement to your business. It's not a substitute for your business.
Oh, that's great. We're gonna definitely pull that quote out and put it in the newsletter. That's a good one there, Dennis. So here's a question, and if you are listening and if you have questions for Dennis, please feel free to drop them. But a question to you I have is, if an entrepreneur, so obviously you're not giving out AI or ChatGPT advice necessarily in your group, but if an entrepreneur were to come up to you and say, "Hey, Dennis, I see that you've built something successful. You're putting out great content. I'm an overwhelmed entrepreneur. How can I use AI to just help my business grow, to take time off of my plate, to free myself up?" What would be that maybe one piece of advice that you would give someone to just get started?
I would say it's the same thing. I get asked a similar question on every radio show or podcast I'm on. Like it's like what's one piece of advice that you would give? And I would say never stop learning. The Chat GPT, the AI that we're seeing now, we're all in awe. We're like, oh my God, can you believe it? That all these things that we're doing, the Apple technology, everything that's coming out, but this is going to be like using a Nokia flip phone in 5 years. This is going to be obsolete, and it's going to be completely different. So never stop learning. Just keep growing, keep learning. Don't get to this place where you know everything, because when we think we know the rules change. So use it for for however you can use it now. And like I'm using it for ideas. I'm using it for to create the lead magnet like this. I know that there's ways you can write music. You could do anything with it. Just stay afloat as much as you can, because it's much easier to continue to learn than it is to start from the bottom and learn everything that there is to know.
Yeah, exactly. Delphine with a comment here saying she did her first 2 posts with ChatGPT, and talking. A sponsor told her, "Wow, you have such great copywriting skills," and it's her best kept secret so far. That's another thing too. I don't think it's that you have to be secretive about your use of ChatGPT, as long as you're going through the steps, kind of like you are, Dennis. You like making sure on the front end you're giving ChatGPT good directions, and then obviously on the back end you have to spend time and you have to make sure it's still relevant, high quality content for your audience. How do you even do that part on the back end? When you can produce so much content, how do you kind of go through and manually make sure that, hey, this is something my audience is going to value? How do you do that process?
Well, I think you just have to make time for that. And it's much easier to edit than it is to come up with it like on the fly like that. So I think that's where our expertise has to just come in and take over and say, oh, well, ChatGPT was wrong here. And, the other thing with ChatGPT, which is really cool, is not only can you type in, I need a LinkedIn, a 200-word LinkedIn post on this topic with 5 bullet points. Like, you can also type it to speak in your voice. So, use it. You can edit it as much as possible using the tool, and then you can edit it yourself. By the time it gets to you, all you have to do is shine it up a little bit. And there's so many different tools that you can use, YouTube videos to watch to help you prompt you through the process. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah, that's great. So some of these things that Dennis is talking about, we're going to make sure to share about them in our daily newsletter that goes out. So if you do have any other questions for Dennis, make sure to go back into this LinkedIn kind of thread that we have going with this video and ask him. I know Dennis is super engaged on social media, and I'm sure he'll be able to answer your question if you have one for him. So Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about how you're using AI and how other entrepreneurs can. Very much appreciate your time.
No problem. And if anybody has questions, please ask anytime. I'm an open book, always here.
All right. Love it. So as a reminder, please go to youreverydayai.com. We'll be sending out a newsletter today and every day with some more resources like Dennis talked about. And please make sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the podcast as well. Subscribe, leave us a rating. That really helps us and just knows that you're enjoying this. So if you are enjoying this, we hope to see you back tomorrow and every day with Everyday AI. Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.